That makes a lot of sense. When you look back at, like I said, like I'm the one that I want, Notorious Cho, like, do you have a favorite of your stand-ups, or is that like asking a mother to choose amongst her children?
I love them all, and I'm like really like amazed too. Oh, like I'm like, oh wow, I was a really good comic. Like I was like way better than I realized. We sort of take a lot of ourselves for granted, and then when you look back, you're like, hey, that's pretty great. So I'm appreciative of it. I think they're all pretty great. I love all the work that I've done, and I'm still like trying to aspire to do better and greater.
And you're back out on the road now.
Yes, although a little bit of a delay because of I had some dates scheduled for January, which I postponed just because I don't know what's happening. Like I'm so, Miss Omicron is coming for everybody. She's, she's not letting it go. She's not Delta wasn't enough. This is like
I mean, Omicron is not playing around.
No, she is like, yeah, I don't know. I wish I could stop the sort of gay habit of saying everything is she, but Miss COVID, Miss 19, Miss.
I refer to myself as a woman all day. So, I mean, you're speaking to the wrong person, because I everything is a she as far as I'm concerned as well.
Inanimate objects, things that are not gendered, juice,
It's just anything items, possible.
Groceries, all of it is gendered. I don't know why.
You've done so much in your career, like TV, stand-up, music. I mean, acting, sex appeal. Just is stand-up, I mean, I would assume that's amongst some of the hardest work. Is that just the wrong assumption, or is that correct? Having that live audience there.
Actually, it's great. It's actually, to me, it's the most comfortable. It's the most experienced that I can work in. I love it, and it's something that it's the most familiar to me. I mean, I think for some people it's considered the hardest, but I feel like it's just sort of what I've been doing. So I'm not really sure. I've been doing it since I was really young, so I don't really know. But I love it all. To me, it's all really a different kind of comedy. Whether it's like acting or stand up or music or anything. I love what I really love is the stand-up comedy to game show pipeline. To me, that's my favorite too. I really love doing that. And I lost my game show friend, Willie Garson, last year. He and I did a show, which was my favorite game show to do. It's called 25 Words or Less, which Melissa Rivers got us all into. And so it's sad to miss him as a partner in that.
Speaking of Melissa Rivers, I assume, I know you were close to Joan, and like, I assume Joan was one of your, the obvious comedic inspiration that you looked up to.
Yes,
when you started in the business.
So. Very much so. And a good friend and somebody who would have a lot to say, today and forever. And I miss her input on everything that's going on. And I think, it's a really, it's a sad thing that she's not here for all of this, but it was great to have her as long as we did. And we miss her all the time.
I mean, you have to wonder, COVID, masks, like what Joan Rivers, cancel culture, what Joan Rivers would say if she were here today.
I think she could survive it all. I mean, I think she would take masks to a new level of the height of chic, and she could make it all funny.
I think so too. What do you feel like? When I had Melissa on this show too, I talked to her about that and cancel culture and what Joan would say. You look at like Judy Gold wrote a book on Yes, I Can Say That. Where do comedians fall as far as you're concerned in this whole cancel culture world that we live in today?
I think it's really, well, like if you look at what cancel culture is, it's just trying to make language fair. Like we're trying to let people who are underrepresented have a voice. That's what cancel culture is at its core. It's trying to equalize the playing field of language so we can look to society as more of an egalitarian experience. That's all it is. But people use the idea of it to say that it's censorship, but it's not. What it is like, well, we're trying to censor our own biases. We're trying to censor our own ideas about racism, about sexism, about homophobia, about transphobia. These conversations needed to happen. They've been needing to happen for a long time. But society's changing so quickly that it seems as if we're trying to censor everything, but it's not true. And I think like with comedians, you just have to have a lot of skill in order to navigate what people feel okay laughing about and also challenge that. So I think it really takes some kind of nuance and understanding of nuance and sensitivity and an understanding of what's actually going on.
That makes a lot of sense. What about like, where TV is today? You talk about like All American Girl, like I brought up, like it would have been a different show today. You look at like Fresh Off the Boat, like Blackish, the new Wonder Years, like Ryan Murphy with Pose. Like, do you think, do you think we've come to where we've come far? What do you think is the current state of representation on TV and like in the media these days?
It's starting. Like, I think it's starting. There's like more of a broad idea of what we understand as entertainment and what we understand as getting into something. Like everybody was super into Squid Game, which was a Korean drama in the Korean language. I mean, you could watch it subtitled, but I mean, not subtitled, dubbed, which actually wasn't as good because they weren't actually always doing the right translations.
Oh, really?
Korean, like, oh, that's not exactly what it is. But you sort of accept it for what it is. But that was the number one show for the entire world. And so BTS is the number one band in the world. We're understanding that we can have an idea of entertainment as being global. And that's also accepting the diversity within America, where Asian Americans now are, a big part of what we consider America. So it's like a time that we got to represent that in entertainment.
That makes sense. Because I live in New York City, and when BTS is in town, it is not even, forget Michael Jackson, forget Madonna, forget whoever, Britney. It is literally, the city is like shut down, like of epic proportions. I've never seen anything like it. It is insane.
I know.
It is insane. Is there a part of this business, like you've done so much, like I just bet you, like, is there a part of this business like you still like really want to try that you haven't conquered or dabbled in?
I think that like, there's a lot more producing that I'd like to do. I have started to do some more of that, like getting into that. I mean, I love that world of it. And just seeing, I love the experience of podcasting. I love the experience of going out there and doing live shows. So to me, it's like, even like doing live shows is almost like a new thing now, like, because we haven't done it for a couple of years or I was doing them last year, but we just sort of just started again. So it just felt like it was like start and now stop. So it's still going to always feel new, I think. But I love like the idea of doing things behind the camera